Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for another episode of Hate It or Love It, where I scour Reddit, Quora, MySpace, every corner of the internet imaginable, and I find out why people hate a specific artist. Now today we're looking at the pop rock band, although heavy emphasis on the pop and the modern years Maroon 5. They're one of the most curious cases I've ever examined, and typically with this series, I try to remain as objective as possible, but with a band like Maroon 5, it's kinda hard, because I feel like most people already know how I feel, and obviously, you're not gonna need a pair of binoculars to find all the reasons why people hate them. We're gonna try and keep it somewhat calm, cool, and collected as we talk about the boys though, because obviously, they started off somewhere, they had to have been liked at some point, it feels like. So we're gonna dive back in history and boil down 5 reasons, obviously we had to do 5, why people hate Maroon 5. After watching, if you think there's a major reason I missed or something else that you want to add to the conversation, then hit with your take in the comments down below, drop a like on this video, and let's get started with the first reason. We're gonna start off with the most obvious one, but when looking at any forum, any subreddit discussion on Maroon 5, the general consensus is that they had 2 great albums, 1 mediocre one, and then they sold the hell out starting around Overexposed in 2012. This is an argument that I completely understand, and that success started around moves like Jagger in 2011. The band weren't exactly happy with the sales of Hands All Over, so they tried to find a new way to rejuvenate the band, and this really started with their infusion of pop and many other different genres as the years went by. Their reputation as sellouts is one of the most obvious examples in all of music. In fact, I don't think there's too many bands out there that have fallen from grace in the way that Maroon 5 have. They started off with so much poise and talent, incorporating pop, R&B, and rock into their music, but it quickly went from that to just kind of a crapshoot as to what the hell you were gonna get. When your ego becomes so big that it swallows the rest of the growing number of band members that are added over the years whole, then you know you've got a problem, and I think with Adam in particular, he just always gave off a very douchey vibe. Douche chill. People have largely pointed out that in the early days, Adam seemed to be somebody who was very confident and maybe a bit overly so, but it was still kind of charming on songs about Jane and It Won't Be Soon Before Long. But something changed as the success started to inflate that ego. They got bigger, the problem got bigger within the band, and his roles started to just take over the entire spotlight, and everybody else was reduced to ants in the background. He's developed a reputation for not being good to fans, whether that be interactions or even at live concerts where he's gotten frustrated. There was a specific international incident in early 2020 before the pandemic. It leaves people with a bad taste in their mouth, and the stunts that he pulled with going shirtless at the Super Bowl halftime show, it didn't exactly help his character development. I swear I'll behave. Basically, Adam lost his relatability as both an artist and a human being. He seems like somebody who tries to walk on a cloud at all times, and that often makes him feel or look out of touch. Clout chasing has been a term that applied to Maroon 5 before the term clout chasing was even prevalent in the mainstream, but they're very obviously embodying that. They've followed the trends, they look at the charts, they see where the money is, and they try to grab the producers, the writers, the sound that fits the current mood. It's been a problem again since Overexposed, and even though that album looks innocent compared to Red Pill Blues and Jordy, and the fans have just not exactly had the same reception towards those albums, they can't be so forgiving. In hindsight, that was the turning point where everything started to just go for what was big at that moment. Ironically enough, as Maroon 5 kept getting further into their career and the sound kept getting more and more basic and watered down, there were more people than ever standing on stage and apparently recording in studio, but people really took notice of the outside co-writers. I think it's been very damaging to their brand and the actual integrity of the band, the chemistry within. It doesn't seem like the other members really have input other than Adam Levine. His ideas might pop up, or maybe he tosses it out to a studio executive and says, hey, maybe we'll do a song, something about this, where maybe I'm having a relationship struggle, or maybe I'm trying to get over something, or maybe I'm sexual, and maybe whatever it is, I'm a musical god. And then they bring in the crew that kind of suits that, and the rest of the members just are treated like studio personnel that occasionally pluck the bass, or maybe give you a strike of the guitar, maybe one little drum fill. They become background to whatever else is popping in the industry at the time. And it goes back to the clout chasing. This time, it's just them trying to get the A-list writers and producers and to put themselves higher and higher up the charts with whatever's popping at the time. Having a fresh set of eyes or a different perspective is not inherently evil. I don't want you to think that I, or maybe even the people that agree with me on this take, are saying that, hey, you can't have an outside co-writer, because sometimes you do need a new jumping off point, or maybe something to get you motivated to write again. But it's become obvious and blatant with Maroon 5 that instead of looking for inspiration, they're just looking for a big payday. And finally, reason number 5, one of the biggest ones that I have also pointed to myself. People have really taken notice of the fact that Maroon 5 basically appropriate whatever artist they can that's really getting numbers at the time, whether that be Cardi B or SZA or whatever collaboration they can rustle up, and they put their name out there once again featuring blank because they are desperate for chart success. They rely so heavily on the fact that these guest features come in to maybe give their other songs that don't have a feature a boost, but also it's become increasingly clear over time that they put out more singles that have a feature than don't. Various remixes pop up and obviously do astronomical numbers, but I just sit back and wonder to myself, who is actually streaming Girls Like You like 100,000 times just on their own? There's gotta be somebody that just left their Spotify up in the background and racked up 100 or maybe 200, 300 mil of those plays, right? No, somehow it's genuine. Somehow there is apparently a massive desire for background noise, and that's apparently what Maroon 5 have devolved into. And again, that clout-chasing mentality of wanting to have the numbers, of never being satisfied, of wanting to reach those heights of what you did before at all times, it keeps Adam in particular driving and just furious in that driver's seat. He keeps pushing to get back to whatever success they may have had before, but they left the fans behind in the fast lane. Hit me with your take in the comments section down below and leave suggestions for future episodes that I should do of Hate It or Love It. If you want to see if I've done it already, then check out the playlist on screen here, or check out my review of Maroon 5's last album right over here. All of my socials can be found in the description down below, and I'll be back soon with more on Beyond ARTV.